We are talking all about Axios, but we are also going to see why Axios is important. Okay, it is similar as well as it is very different than to your fetch, but and it also has its own advantages over. I'll say why Axios. The first question is why. If you see, go to my screen, my response, then only I can just say simply I can see my write these additional steps where you're converting it to use Axios. We need one simple library plugin. To fetch, we don't need any additional plugin, but to use Axios, we definitely need npm install Axios. If I just simply say that, it is going to install Axios. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, and we left with fetch. As I said, we are going to see important topics today. Okay, and today we are going to see Axios. I hope you liked previous video. Please subscribe to our channel, that's a request, and keep liking our videos. We have seen fetch, but the only method that we have seen is get. In this video is all we are talking all about Axios, but we are also going to see why Axios is important. Okay, and to know Axios better, okay, we are going to compare it with fetch. It is similar as well as it is very different than to your fetch, but and it also has its own advantages over fetch. So to start the video with, I'll say why Axios. The first question is why. Why? Because if you see fetch, we have to do some chaining, right? We use fetch. If you see, go to my screen, we have fetch, right? Then we have dot then. We'll just quickly revert back to our previous example where I'm able to make you understand it better, or else let me keep it as it is. Why do we need to do that? If you see, we have to do some chaining. First, we need to call fetch, then we need to convert it to JSON, and after that, if I want to see my response, then only I can just say simply I can see my response. If I go here, just do a refresh, then. So I have to do multiple steps just to simply get the data, right? But the interesting part about Axios is you don't have to write these additional steps where you're converting it to JSON. Axios returns default as a JSON object, and you don't need to worry about converting it back to JSON. That's first advantage of JSON over fetch. The second biggest advantage is, by looking at that, can you tell which type of method it is? Which type of HTTP method it is? Is it a get? It is a post? It is put, patch, delete? No, we can't tell that. By default, fetch is get. Okay, fetch uses get. But if I want to make post, then I have to pass the second parameter of this fetch as object, and then I have to pass like method. I have to simply say which type of method it is, what type of data I am passing, and so on and so forth. Let's say that I'm just simply saying I'm just passing ID 101 to this. If you go ahead, if you see, the initial request that I made was a get. The new request that I made, headers, is a post, and I'm posting it. So to just simply convert get into post, I need to pass it some configuration where I have to specify the method. That then again, as we're talking about Axios, it automatically or defaults to the default methods that we have with HTTP. For example, if you want to call a get method, we have axios.get. We are going to see right away. If we have post, we have axios.post. We have put, axios.put. If we want delete, axios.delete. So basically it resembles to all the HTTP methods. So it has inbuilt methods which basically have the same name as your HTTP methods. So you don't get confused anywhere. Okay, I hope that was making some sense. And last but not the least, Axios is powerful. Okay, you can use it on client machines, you can use it on server machines, basically wherever we run JavaScript, for example, your node machines. So Axios can be used on client and server, both the environments. So yes, we talked about Axios, but now let's see how exactly we are going to use it. So we will not disturb this existing fetch. We'll simply go ahead, call another one like Axios component, just to resemble the name, and const Axios component equal to, I know I'm very bad with names, but please forgive me for that. I'll say h3. This is an Axios component. So let me create the simple component here. To use Axios, we need one simple library plugin. To fetch, we don't need any additional plugin. But to use Axios, we definitely need npm install Axios. If I just simply say that, it is going to install Axios. It's a short library, so it's not very heavy. See, it quickly installed also while I'm talking to you all guys. And I say npm start. We usually do it to start our React application. If you go to my package, you will see we have additional Axios 1.4.0. In future, it might be upgraded. Okay, it might go to some new version, but the basic principle remains the same for Axios. I have used it for so long and still it is like having those base principles. So you don't need to worry about it. We need to show it. So instead of fetch component, I'm going to call Axios component. Axios component that we have written, and it is going to render my Axios. Nothing changed. Console is empty. Refresh. You don't have anything, and we'll quickly jump to our coding. So how to use an Axios? It is going to be a very short video and going to be very interesting one. Use effect. The same way we did for fetch, I'm going to call fetch all. This time I'll call users. Why to call the same posts? Let's make something different. And this should be called once on the mounting phase. Const. I keep repeating this, guys, so that it just drills in your memory, so that we don't forget it, what it is doing. Now to how to call an Axios. Simple. Axios dot, it has all get, it has post, patch, put, then delete. As I said, it has all those methods. Then we need get. Simple. Again, our URL. Instead of posts, I need users. And you see all the list of users. There are 10 users. Axios. I just paste the URL. It also has catch, then, and finally. So we have then response, the same way we did last time. Let me take this one line below. Response, fat arrow, curly braces to print what exactly we are trying to see. Response. Now if you print this here, refresh, you can see you don't get the readable stream and all that. You can directly see you have a data, array, status text, and everything basically right available at your hands. And if you just want to print the data, you just have to say response.data. It will start displaying the data for you. Quick, easy, simple, and it's crisp. The same thing with catch. If you have any error, you can just simply console.log error occurred, blah blah blah, error, print the error, and I'll just start throwing the error. I'll just say wrong URL, refresh, and it will start throwing you Axios error. It comes into the catch block and it will give you all the in-depth errors, what exactly it is happening. So you have more control now. You have more command with your errors. Then let's see what happens when you have some invalid URL. Refresh, it will still throw you to error occurred, and you don't need to worry about now your try, catch, and again using the combination of response.ok, try, catch, block, and etc. Simple. Axios will help you with all of those in one go. So all the errors basically are cached in your catch block. This was interesting, right? So let me see. We are fetching it. We are getting the URL. In the same way, let's take another example of how do we post something basically. Okay, so it's very simple. Like how we have get, we have post, and in post the second parameter is your data, what exactly you want to post. So I have, let's say, ID 101, the same thing that we did last time. Refresh. If I go to my network tab, you can see now this method is a post. It is as simple as it can be. You can pass multiple configurations. I know that you might be thinking, oh, it's so easy, then why do we have those all configurations, headers, and so on? You can do that. Simply the basics are clear. Axios headers. So if you see, you can just go to any website anywhere and you will be able to see how to simply pass those configurations. You can see, you can just simply, the second parameter is your configurations. In the post, it is a third parameter. So to make it more simpler for you, first parameter URL, second parameter data for post, third parameter is my configurations. I can just say like authorization, something like this, and I can say test. So you can have your own configurations like this. Basically all the authorization you can do it like this using your configurations, or to make it more simple, how your content policy you have and all those things you can do it here. I don't want to go more in depth with configurations, because with each company you can have your own configurations. With logins you have your own configurations, authorizations, authentications, you can do a lot of stuff with those things. But I just want to keep this video very simple for you, for all the people who just want to understand the basics of Axios and Fetch. These videos are for them. Let me show you one more interesting thing. If I want, as I said, like, let me just make it another different post. Fetch, not fetch, post new user. So let me say that this is my another method, which is like post new user, and with fetch I'm calling this. I also have a method called as fetch all users, and here I am just calling the users, but I am not posting it, I am getting it, right? Refresh. Okay, refresh, and if you see, I have users 1, it is 201, post, and the second one, something is happening, which I'll start it here, npm start, and let me close this out. I don't know why it is not working. My terminal is behaving weird. It's too much load on that now. Okay, so let me just say F12, refresh. Yes, it's working properly now. So get and post. I have 2 URL. It was nothing wrong with my code, it was wrong with the terminal. Move down. Okay, I have these 2 methods, but if you see, there is a redundancy of this URL. I don't want that every time I call my Axios I have to pass this URL. This URL is never going to change. If that's the scenario, if my URL is hard-coded, if some of my configurations are hard-coded, Axios gives you one more add-on benefit, that is creating your Axios instance. So what I'm talking, I'll simply write it down. How I can do that? I'll create a variable. Let me say that Axios instance, something like this, okay, or my Axios. Okay, so this is way I am creating my own Axios, and you have a create method. Create method simply creates an instance for you. Here you need to pass all your configurations. For example, if I'm passing a URL, this is the most simplest example, that I have my URL, copy. This is going to be my base URL for all the API calls that I'm going to have with this API, with this instance. So I don't need to simply just keep on saying, let me delete this so that makes sense. My Axios.get, again get method is same. What you want to get? I simply want to get my users. If you see, that will still work. That is still working. It is still calling, but now I am not passing any add-on parameter. The same thing I can do is with my post. Here, instead of get, I can say post and the same users, and I can pass my data ID like 500 something. Refresh. If you see, it is getting, and if you see, it is posting with the payload of ID of 500. Interesting, right? I'm just writing the URL once, I'm using it multiple times. This is the power of Axios. I hope now this also video made some sense. I taught you something interesting which you have read, which you have not read. I think I made it a bit simplified for you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I request you to add on your comments. Not only like, I love to read your comments. Thank you guys. Be happy. Have a good day. Take care.